What is going on, my today people? I really appreciate you all joining me yet again for another. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about juice jacking. Don't worry, it's not what it sounds like. We'll also be talking about the Pentagon documents leak. Some people are calling them the Pentagon Papers 2.0. Yes, it actually is a serious thing, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Also, I want to touch on Macron's comments and war. Yeah, battles, that kind of military stuff. But we'll get there when we get there. But first, dear future robots, is there any ethics in how we plan to use robots in wars? Like any guidelines that are being put in place or that are in place? I mean, will robots be able to go after humans in battle? Is that fair? Or will there be some core coding or something like that that prevents harm to humans? Like, like it was supposed to be on that iRobots movie with Will Smith. Let's start the show. How y'all feeling out there? Everybody good? I can't complain on my end. Definitely been busy. This is a season for work. A lot of change, man. We're getting a new couch, a new sectional. I can't wait for that. It's a little deeper. Old Faithful has done us well. Call it the trap couch. Many a nights being trapped in those cushions. But it's time, man. Out with the old and with the new. Just I don't know if I want to go through the trouble of putting it out on the curb or whatever. Somebody can probably make use of it. It has some good days ahead of it. But the family is doing great. I have both my kids all to myself this weekend. Kind of. My wife gets back in town on Saturday. Her lucky I gets to go to a Usher concert, man, with a few of her work friends, man. I guess it's like a kind of like a girls trip, I guess. They had an extra ticket and my wife got lucky. So yeah, I was like, man, but hey, it is what it is. She deserves it. And I love just kids time. I enjoy it personally. Why women complain about being single moms? Let me stop. I no disrespect. I was raised by a single mother. Salute to y'all. I do believe it's optimal for a 2-parent household. I will say that, but shout out to the single mothers out there trying to make a way. But man, I hope y'all are all living in your blessings, as I like to say. Let's go on ahead, man. Let's get right into a little bit of scrap metal media. Let's go. Scrap metal media. Welcome to Scrap Metal Media, where all news is two-faced. Swarm's season finale was kind of trash. I don't think I like how they ended that. I'll leave it at that. Let's get right into it, y'all. Have y'all heard of juice jacking? Like I mentioned in the open, man. So for those who haven't heard of it, it's not nothing nasty or anything, guys. Chill. Get your minds out of the gutter. What it is apparently is a new way that hackers are able to get into your phones. My wife is traveling this weekend, and I even had to tell her. I sent her the article. I'm like, yo, babe, be careful with these public charging spaces and public USBs and all that kind of stuff. Do not plug in anywhere. Just it ain't worth it nowadays. Hackers, scammers are getting just more crafty now. So what they're able to do once you plug in through some kind of ingenuity, actually hack into your phone. So you don't want to be trying to charge up just to get drained, do you? Like, because that's pretty much what's gonna happen. Like, you plug up to charge up for like 30-20 minutes, and these people are draining your bank account. So y'all be careful out there. Juice jacking is a thing. They're always coming up with new stuff. I mean, I don't swipe cards anywhere anymore. Like, I literally just don't. I'm paying cash as much as I can because you really just don't know. And scammers are about to be up again. Wait till Teflon Don get back in office, man. We're gonna see the most scammers ever going to the voting booth, hair wig and all, hair piece and all, man. These scammers, man, they love him. I guess I get it because they're really up. Donald Trump just opens the floodgates for everything. No regulation, no nothing. Like you can do whatever under Donald Trump. It's always gonna flow upwards, right? But man, I'll tell you, if these scammers ever get smart enough to figure out a way to scam Apple Pay, I'm gonna tell y'all now, I'm done for. I love Apple Pay, man. I love Apple Pay. Yeah, I'll be done if they figure that out. Our country right now is in a very interesting spot. I don't know, like in my lifetime at least, which is short, this seems like some of the worst times, man. And I was alive when 9/11 happened. Like I've never seen our country, at least on the surface level, so divided. This is crazy. I watched Jon Stewart, I believe it is. He has some new show. It's okay. But they had a segment where it was called White People Talking About Racism. Man, it was kind of hard to watch. I ain't gonna front. But they had this one bald guy. I don't remember his name, but he was on the TV screen. He wasn't there with the other people in the studio. And man, the stuff he was saying was bizarre to me, and they was just letting him live. You guys are a little too friendly with each other within this whole racism thing, man. That's why they can keep going with it, because it's like, they'll say the whole racist horrible thing, and to y'all good. Like y'all not really checking them. Like it's real friendly. They get to spread these ideas, and y'all don't really push back. Like, it's like, especially watching this whole Jon Stewart thing, it was like everything was like a joke. I'm like, bro, these are serious things. This guy's talking about old black people, the family issues, and the culture, and I'm like, yeah, it was messy, man. Old Jon Stewart, man, I think he was a little better, man. Now he's like reaching, man. Just, you're a comedian, but hey, on to a few more serious things, man. The Pentagon document leaks again. I think they just arrested the guy. He was a 21-year-old or something like that. Really young to be working at the Pentagon. Apparently, they did arrest the guy. Let me see if I can find his name for y'all. His name apparently is Jack Teixeira. He's 21 and a member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. How did he get these documents? Can somebody help me figure that out? I'm so confused by that. Like, why isn't it a system where only like 2 to 3 people have even access, and upon trying to leave the room, where the heavily guarded room where these documents are, why aren't people like strip searched or something? Like, I'm so confused. How are these these documents that are quote unquote so serious just being able to fall into anybody's hands? I mean, I guess he's not anybody, but he's a 21-year-old. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there were like national security things on, like, this is like, I don't get it. Like, is everybody in our government like stupid? I'm confused. It says a stunning leak of a cache of classified Pentagon documents. That sounds very serious, but they're saying it appears to be one of the most significant breaches of U.S. intelligence in decades, purportedly revealing national security secrets regarding Ukraine, Russia, Asia, and the Middle East, as well as details about U.S. espionage methods and the country's spying. How is a 21-year-old even in the same room with this cache? I don't get it, man. Like, what is going on? It's just like Dumb and Dumber or something, like the Three Stooges. Who's making these rules? Where are the tax dollars going? Jeez. But I gotta comb through them. I mean, if they're still available, I'm gonna try to see if I can find them and see how serious these documents were, because obviously sometimes the media likes to play things up. But I mean, this guy was arrested, so it had to be serious to some extent, right? Man, our country right now, man, we are in bad shape. God, like, make America great, man. I don't rock with all that MAGA stuff, but make America great. Actually make it great for everybody. You got like Macron's comments. I wanted to talk about that too. Like, Macron is the leader right now of France. All right. I don't know if anybody knows much about the political situation in France. He made some comments. Now, according to Politico, Macron apparently had cautioned against being drawn into a crisis over Taiwan, driven by quote unquote American rhythm and Chinese overreaction. Sounds like he's trying to say America is messy, and then in the nicest way, right? To me, it feels like he's taking a position, or France is taking a position of America may not be the big dogs on the yard anymore. And it does make sense. it makes sense. But it seems like he's hedging his bets a little bit. China is in a very good position. I think on the global stage, we still hold the big stick, and we, like, everybody still remembers the glory days. It's kind of, you can say it's the Jordan LeBron debate, where China is LeBron right now. They're looking really good, man, for that conversation of the GOAT. But hey, we'll see. But I think these comments were very interesting, very, very interesting. American rhythm and Chinese overreaction. He's clearly saying American politics. He was kind of taking a jab at GOP politics. You know what I mean? Like the grand old party, the Republicans. He mentioned Trump's comments. Trump had some comments about him as well. Trump actually accused him of quote unquote kissing ass to Beijing. You know it's bad. We're in a bad situation when literally, like, lifelong partners, America and France did a lot of dirt together. A lot of good things, but way more bad things together. And now they're finally kind of like, as a country, it's very interesting, man. Yikes, country's in a bad spot right now. Oh man, did you guys hear about the North Korea missile test? Right now our government is claiming that apparently they may be using new missile technology. They say these missiles were able to go about 1,000 kilometers. It's like a little over 600 miles. So it's supposedly new new technology that they're using. Not sure if it has any nuclear implications, but it landed near, far enough away, but near a Japanese island, and it had to be like evacuated. So it's serious. Because you always hear about them doing missile tests and stuff like that, but to have one get that close to where people have to evacuate, sheesh. It's like I feel like in my heart of hearts that we will be in a war shortly, but jeez, man, like it seems like they're trying to ramp this up, man. I don't like it one bit, man. I don't like it. It seems like we really have inept politicians in place right now. It seems like the government is just, like I said, the bureaucracy, I don't like it at all. Everybody's just taking advantage of the citizens, getting the bags from these corporations just to be stupid. Like, you don't see anything intelligent being done in our government right now. Like, you really don't. Did you see the whole situation with Kamala Harris being sent to, and she's working, by the way. Yeah, all y'all out there that use the social media line about where's Kamala on some where's Waldo type stuff, like, she's working. Like, you can check whitehouse.gov and all their schedules and what they do are listed. Like, stop following social media, yo. She's busy. She's working. I don't like how they're using her. She's not best suited for it, but they sent her to Africa to kind of pow the continent almost. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard of a few of the different countries in Africa, like Ghana, what's another one? Nigeria, like all the, some of the different countries in Africa that are making a stand or taking a stance against LGBTQIA plus I'm sorry for, you can actually be jailed, like face some jail time for, I don't know if it's exhibiting homosexual behavior or just like if somebody accuses you or actually being gay. I don't know if it's geared towards trans or what the case is, but nevertheless, Kamala Harris was sent there. She took the opportunity, and I'm sure this was planned, to kind of speak against, I should say, the government's positions in some of these different countries, speaking to the youth. And it was interesting seeing the Ghana member of parliament. So I think his name was Halban Bagbin, and he's a speaker of the parliament, and he literally just kind of roasted her a little bit. I mean, roasted the US really, and she's literally just, in this case, it seems like she was almost an errand girl. Shout out to the VP. Now, y'all already know how I feel about her. I actually do like her, so this don't feel good, but it is what it is. It's extremely hypocritical, and I don't think anybody can watch the video of this speaker, this Ghanaian speaker, making his case. It was straight logical, but he talked about human rights, because that's the premise that VP Harris had in her speeches, like LGBTQ rights or human rights and all this kind of stuff. There's kids being killed in schools in America, and we're seemingly not doing anything about it. I know how I feel about that. I already spoke on it. The logic was deafening, and it kind of made us look a little, stupid, because we tend to be interventionalists. Like, we tend to try to spread, I talk about Rome a lot, but it feels really Romish, like Greek, like you spread your empire. I don't like, we moving like it's the 1930s, and it's not that anymore, man. Like, it's other places can actually say things to us now, and it doesn't feel good, especially in our country, man. I don't think we have the right to be going to other places, no matter what the situation is, really. I don't think we really have place to go and tell other places how to move in their own civilizations, their own cultures. And the hypocritical part I didn't even get to yet. Places like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, like a lot of these places in the Middle East and Europe that have very strict laws on LGBTQ or women. Like Saudi Arabia, like women were just allowed to drive. Can they still drive? Can they even drive there? For different situations, sure, there's a lot going on, but it just don't look good, man. Like, stay away from the hypocrisy. A lot of our people seem to not be able to do that. So again, I like Kamala Harris, man. I hate it. I hate it had to be you. Salute, but let's you say no, man. Like, I don't know. It's not a good position to be in, man. But speaking of the LGBTQ plus IA community, how you guys feel about Bud Light? And it's almost like you can smash two things together, right? So you got gun violence there, and the whole trans phobia type situation. So apparently Bud Light made a stand. I mean, I don't know if they're vying for the future, because I don't trust corporations. So I think maybe they're trying to open up a new market with LGBTQ people. I would probably bank that's where it's at, unless the president is gay or something, or lesbian. I don't know. I honestly, I gotta look I gotta look into that a bit. If you guys know, put it in the comments. Like, is there a new initiative that within the company of Bud Light? Do you know anybody that works for Bud Light? Give them my line. But they put this guy, they put this person, Dylan Mulvaney, on the cans apparently, and people aren't with a lot of the trans stuff. It is what it is. Personally, my stance and my position on that is let people do what they do. I'm not a big fan of children being introduced to a lot of this stuff. I'm just not. Um, it is what it is. I'm just not. But people should be able to live their lives, man. Let people do their thing. Let people love who they want to love, as long as it's not, underage type stuff. If they're not, if everything should be age appropriate, in my opinion. But I don't think this Dylan Mulvaney person should be getting this kind of heat, man. I don't necessarily think that's right. But people are allowed to drink what they want to drink, not support what they want to support. That's kind of the American way. This Dylan Mulvaney person seems pretty happy, so salute. Live your life. Hopefully you're happy. Nothing but love. Salute. That brings me to my. I think after this, I'm gonna get out of scrap metal media, man. Biden's Title IX. It's very interesting. So for those who know, Title IX was introduced back in the day to help women's sports, make it equal, right? Put women's sports, I say women, but really girls sports. It also just works for women's sports, but it was primarily for girls sports in schools. A lot of these women's and girls sports weren't getting the same resources that the men's and boys sports were getting. So Title IX kind of put that on an even playing field, right? It made rules for that and guidelines, so to speak. So Biden almost, I believe it was an executive order, but he pushed that in order to add trans teens to the Title IX. So now if you're a trans girl or a trans boy, and usually I think what brings up a lot of the drama is trans women, right? Or trans girls. So that's a boy that wants to be a girl, or a guy that wants to be a girl. Whenever they take part in sports, the question of fairness comes up. I think it looks very close to hate, which is why we're so divided on that in this country, and people are scared to talk about it. But obviously it's discomfort for sure. And a lot of people aren't used to seeing it. But I could tell you from my perspective, I have a daughter, and I don't watch too many women's sports now, but my daughter's going to play tons of sports when she gets old. Now, I remember talking to my boy earlier, and I'm like, is playing a little kid sport. Like, my son plays soccer right now. He's 4 years old, and he plays with girls on his team. I don't mind that. They're kids. But if my daughter is in middle school or high school playing soccer, and it's a trans girl there, I'm trying to get the lingo correct. Trans girl is a boy that wants to be a girl and does that whole transitioning thing. I wouldn't like that. I just wouldn't, because I don't care what pseudoscience is made up, or what some of the people try to say. A male with the same skill set is always going to have an advantage over a female or a woman or a girl. That's just what it is. So let me rephrase a little bit. The trans woman or trans girl will always have an advantage over over the girl, right? The born girl or born woman. It's just like, you don't even know what lingo to use. And how I feel is that's pretty much just consensus, right? It should be consensus. That's like not only just science, but just life, like we spend too much time in this country being divided, and I get hate. Hate shouldn't be in the picture. There shouldn't be hate. There should be tolerance for sure, but you also got to make sense, right? Like, I hope we don't move too far away from that, because I feel like we've seen, especially with Trump, we've seen such a stretch to one side that sometimes you can overcorrect. So we need to figure out our space, especially if we don't want to be the laughing stock of the world, right? Because we're slowly going from a superpower to a laughing power, or a laughing stock. I mean, this country's in a bad spot right now, man. Man, but hey, let me know what y'all think about that. Did y'all know about Title IX? Did y'all know about what Biden did? I ain't gonna front. I had high hopes for Biden. Everybody's calling him "Let's Go Brandon" and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not gonna stoop to that level, but there's a lot of stuff going on for other groups of people. There's a lot of things going on for political organizations, lobbying fronts. There's a lot of money being poured in, a lot of rules being added, like a lot of protections, but they couldn't even pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to any effective point. I mean, man, we are humans. And those were just a few examples of our complexities, man. I'm out. So for the main topic today, I definitely want to talk about a battle, a war. You know what I mean? I guess it could be seen like that. I spend a lot of time talking about current situations, militarily speaking, and also the possibilities of future warfare. let's get into something that happened in the past. All right. Has anybody heard of the Battle of the Bamber Bridge? No. Okay. So let me know how you feel about it. All right. Let's get right into it. And here we go. Can you guys can any of you out there guess? Just take a wild guess. Let's say based on context clues. Anybody? I'll just let y'all know, man. Let me stop playing. I want to talk about something that I think was a stain. Let's say a stain with invisible ink, right? Because it isn't something that a lot of people talk about. It isn't something that students are educated on. I've never heard this in any class that I've sat in, and most normal people, regular people that I speak to, have never ever heard about this. And what that is the battle at Bamber Bridge. All right. For those that know what that is, are like, oh, yeah, the battle at Bamber Bridge. What it was a hours long standoff or fight between United States military men. All right. So military members of the United States Army were in battle against each other. And by the way, Bamber Bridge is in England, in Lancashire, England. That's a long ways away from America. And that's June 24th, 1943, by the way. That's during World War II. What could have caused this? I'm sure somebody out there is asking. Racism. Somebody out there rolled their eyes. I felt it. But hey, ask yourself this. If you have an issue or a problem and you don't talk about it, does it get solved? I don't think that's necessarily been true with in regards to racism. Definitely not in this country. I digress. Let me go into some details about this battle. Bamber Bridge at the time happened to be one of the places where black troops were being stationed in. And this was all in preparation for the D-Day landings. Y'all got to know what the D-Day landings were. But it wasn't just black troops, but this just happened to be one of the places that actually have black troops. And by the way, this is a time where the U.S. military was still segregated. The U.S. military wasn't desegregated until close to 1950. So being that this is 1943, you have troops that are supposed to be fighting for the same thing, yet being that America was America and kind of still is America, right? There was still segregation in our armed forces, which is crazy to me. Which is absolutely crazy to me. And this is a time, by the way, where England was really moving past a lot of that. They had gotten rid of slavery before us. Granted, they had it before we were even a country, right? But they had gotten rid of it, and they were moving towards more of a tolerant society, a mixed society, a non-racist society. And I definitely don't think there's truly a way to get rid of it. We have countries in this world now that make racism illegal, but that doesn't mean that people still don't show their prejudices, right? At the time in the US, we were literally experiencing dozens of race riots and obviously Jim Crow. And that was America. This was the time. Oh man, this is crazy to think about now. And over there, like I said, in England at the time, it was accepted multiculturalism. Troops weren't treated with such disdain. Obviously now it is still complex. I'm not saying there weren't any racist people in England, any locals that weren't racist. I'm not gonna be naive and say that. But the position that the country took was one of, let's fix this problem. Let the quote unquote blacks do their thing and leave us be or whatnot. That seemed to be the American way at the time, as far as the military is concerned. As far as the American way, let's just keep it a buck. Tensions between the troops, the white troops and the black troops, have been bubbling for weeks at this point. And I don't think I need to go into details on why tensions were bubbling. You have a military that is segregated and they're supposed to be fighting for freedom. So, but on June 24th, several black troops decided to stand up, tired of being treated a certain way. We're men just like you. So several black troops decided to stand up and go against what was going on. Really just protest the racism. And how they decided to do that was by entering a popular pub in the area. And that pub was pretty much made off limits. So they were prohibited from going into the pub. And it wasn't necessarily by the locals, but it was enforced by the white American troops. Let that sink in. All right. The way that in this time, like I said, in the US, there was Jim Crow race riots and all that, segregation and all that. So, and segregation is active in the military. So pretty much US military policy that white and black troops, even though you're going to fight in the same places, be in the same foxholes and all that kind of stuff, you're not eating in the same places. You're gonna have to bring it to the table. So if that's what's preventing you guys from wanting to have a conversation, come on, you got to grow up a little bit. But let's go. Let's keep moving. So obviously, with this, they're meeting at an impasse. It's a rock and a hard place type situation. We want to go into this pub. We're sick of you. You guys are drinking, having fun, and we just got to sit in our corner. And again, we're men like you. We do the same thing. We got guns just like you do. Y'all gonna let us in this pub? It felt almost like they had known what was going on in America. Obviously, there at this point there'd been race riots for years in America. They didn't want to be the ones with the guns that were scared to buck the system, so to speak. And that's me kind of going off the cuff. Obviously, I don't. There aren't any survivors, so nobody's there to be interviewed and really tell their story. 50 years later, so, or whatever the case is. So that's me kind of going by context clues and putting two and two together for y'all. Obviously, like I said, the white troops were drinking in this bar, so being that they were drinking, they were a little saucy. The black troops were angry, so you have two sides with impaired judgment. White troops begin to agitate, and when that agitation is met with the response, they called the military police. When the military police get there, it didn't help anything. It actually got worse, because I'm sure you guys know whose side they were on. At that point, more military police are called because a battle ensued. This is when it starts. This is when the shooting starts. This is when the fighting starts. Several people are injured, and they are literally shooting it out in England. U.S. military troops. Look it up. It's crazy. It wasn't until the British military actually sent in their own soldiers, their own troops. Like, another country's troops had to come in, jump in the middle, and stop the violence. Man, racism has a heck of a legacy, man. Like, geez, these are the things we need to be taught about, man. Like, a lot of ignorance right now that persists in our society, it's only able to live and breathe because we don't talk about these things. Talk about how DeSantis in Florida wants to get rid of what they call critical race theory. That's just another word for don't say anything. You just stay in your place, know your place. Don't talk about anything that ever happened. Don't make my grandkids feel bad, aka don't provide information to my grandkids so that they can maybe put two and two together and see that I was a part of a lot of this stuff. I don't want my grandkids to be sitting in a history class one day and the teacher pulls up a slide of somebody being lynched, and little old me at 10 years old or whatever is in the crowd smiling. Like I said before, this battle went on for hours. There was an agitator that was actually arrested, a white American troop. His name was Private Leonard Sifleet. And that was allegedly, obviously. He's allegedly, according to some witness testimony, he was one of the agitators that was throwing rocks, trying to egg on the first batch of military police that got there, trying to get them and the black troops to get to start fighting and shoot. This is the same thing, that's the same tactic that's pulled now when there's protest against injustice or whatever the case is. There's always somebody in the crowd that's throwing a rock at the police or doing something like that to get everything to pretty much pour accelerant or fuel on the fire. So that there's no surprise there. He was actually arrested. Some of the black troops were obviously arrested as well. Again, segregation was the rule of the military at that point. So the fact that they wanted to go against it was something, unfortunately, at that time, that was seen as a no-no. Man, drunk racists versus black troops that had enough. And they all had guns, man. I mean, what did you guys expect was going to happen? Here are a few of the names of these heroes that decided to stand up, man. And I hope none of them got crazy stuff in their backgrounds when they came back to the U.S., man. But at the time of the battle at Bamber Bridge, man, considering what they did to buck against the racist segregationist system, I got to give them their kudos. Not sure what they did after their military duty, but I'm only speaking of this time. So if you're a descendant of one of these gentlemen, a grandchild, great-grandchild, or whatever, reach out. Man, these guys need to be heroes, man. But There's a Private William Crossland. All right. Salute. There's Private Booker T. Spicely, Private Edward L. Carter, and Private Robert O. Robinson. Salute to these gentlemen, man. Salute to these gentlemen, heroes that decided to stand up. And I'm sure there's way more, but these are just a few of the names that I was just able to kind of jot down. This whole situation, the battle at Bamber Bridge, did a lot to change how Black American troops were treated and kind of integrated into British society. Again, this is 1943 though, so clearly it didn't do much for America, because you guys that know American wars, I mean, you saw what happened in Vietnam as far as the treatment that the Black troops got versus the treatment the white troops got. So even though they desegregated the American military in, like, I think it was like 1948, it didn't really do much to fix a lot of the issues that we as Americans internalized. But hey, we got to talk about this kind of stuff, man. We got to talk about it. I think it's always fun, and that's kind of why this show, one of the reasons why this show exists. Dear Future Robots, yes, but real conversation is needed. This is the human mind. We vary. We're not all the same, that's for sure. But we intersect in many different ways. Somebody out there never heard about this, loves history, maybe doesn't like the military, but you can get something from it. And that's something that should be appreciated. I hope you guys got something from it. I hope you guys learned something from it. God bless America. Respect to the good veterans out there, man. Salute. This ain't just a prediction. This is bit by bit. My bet by bit prediction of the day is all is fair in love and war. I do believe that robots will be used in the future to take out human beings, human targets, handle highly dangerous missions. It only makes sense. You got companies like Teledyne that are developing drones, robots. You got Boston Dynamics, Lockheed Martin. I know a few people that work there. Yeah, it's inevitable. I think they'd rather save the human casualties or capital. It just makes way more sense. But like I said, all is fair in love and war, man. It's coming. It's the future. Can't change it. So human rights or no human rights. That's the future, baby. Thank you. You're far too kind. How'd y'all feel about the episode? Anybody learn something? Anybody smile? Smirk? Even a little bit? I appreciate it. Really thank y'all all for listening. All right. Now, if you did enjoy the show, and even if you didn't, help a brother out. Rate, subscribe, comment. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? First of all, share with a friend, somebody that, like I keep saying, doesn't know me. If they can find something from the show, why not? Thank you. Dear Future Robots. And we out. That is all we have for the time capsule today, y'all. Peace. And we are just universes crashing, y'all, so just do your best to leave a mark. Once again, this is Wendy. I appreciate you listening. Dear Future Robots, peace.